Hi, my name is Clodagh Jenkins. I'm admissions tutor for the Imperial College BSc Economics, Finance and Data Science degree. It is great you're interested in our degree. I'm sure you want to know more about our interview, which is a key part of our application process. In this video, I will give you a brief overview of the whole process and then spend most time talking about the maths quiz part. There is a separate video talking about the second part, which is a meeting with an academic. If we are impressed with your written application on UCAS, we will send you an invitation to interview. You will get an email around 10 days to 2 weeks before your interview week. In the invite, you will be given information about the two parts of our interview. A time slot at the start of the week for a 30 minutes online maths quiz. The slot is the same for everyone being interviewed that week. You will also be given instructions on how to book a time slot in the same week for a 20 to 25 minute meeting with an academic. If you cannot make the week that is offered, for example, you have mock exams that week, please do let us know. We will do our best to accommodate you in a later week. This video explains the maths quiz. If you want to know more about the meeting with an academic, there is a separate video to look at. There is also lots of guidance about your application more generally, including your personal statement on our website. Let's talk about the maths quiz. What is it for? How will it run practically? What topics will be covered? And how can you prepare? The maths quiz is an integral part of the interview. It is not an extra hurdle for you to jump over. We are not using it as a separate test that you must get a particular mark in to be considered. Our degree is highly quantitative and we want to make sure everyone joining us is ready to get going with the technical material from the outset. We don't want anyone falling behind or being unhappy because their maths skills are not at the required level. We have your predicted grades for maths, equivalent to an A star at A level, and that tells us a lot. The quiz is another piece of information about your maths skills. What we really want to know is not only that you can answer questions, but how you think about and approach problem solving. This is one of the main purposes of the overall interview. In the meeting with the academic, we will ask you a question to understand how you approach and think through a problem. This is where the maths quiz may be used. The academic who will have your quiz results may decide to talk to you about one of the questions in the quiz. It is one potential starting point for a problem-solving discussion. This could be a question you got right in the quiz, maybe one that was considered challenging, or it could be one where you chose an interesting incorrect answer. The academic could ask you to explain how you approach the question. They might explore how you would think through that or a similar question if presented with extra information. Or they might present a practical context and explore with you how you would use the math skill to approach the real-world problem. Often, the academic will decide to ask you a question that is not related to the maths quiz at all. It will still be on how you think through a problem using your analytical skills, but not linked to the quiz. You can find out more about the meeting with the academic in the separate video. For now, hopefully, you have a good idea of the role of the maths quiz as an integral part of our interview. It is something to guide the academic's thinking on what to discuss with you. It is not, on its own, a decider on what happens with your progression of your application. So that is what it is for. Let's turn now to some practical logistics. You will be told the start time and day in the email you get inviting you to interview. The quiz will close exactly 30 minutes after you start. There is a small window of additional time to accommodate anyone having brief technical problems. You should work on the basis that it is a strict 30-minute window and you are expected to start at the allotted time. Make sure to be ready in a quiet space with reliable internet. Please note that if you get extra time for your school exams, you can contact us and we can add the same proportion of extra time to the quiz. Just reply to the email you get with the details and proof of your adjustment requirements. The timing is strict, but of course we know that things can go wrong with technology. There will be support available for this during the test. It is best to contact us as soon as you have an issue. The team will work with you to come to a suitable solution. The quiz will be run online using a secure platform called WiseFlow that we use for online exams at Imperial. Because it is online, you can take the quiz anywhere in the world at the assigned time. It is your responsibility to make sure you do everything possible to have a secure and reliable connection to the internet. When you are in the quiz software, your access to other browsers on your computer will be locked down. You will get instructions about how to set this up. You will also be given access to a practice area in the WiseFlow software in advance of your time quiz. This is to allow you to familiarise yourself with how it works before the test itself. Please do this to make sure you are not panicking about the software on the day. Of course, you can have a pencil, paper and calculator with you as well. You may be already thinking about the pitfalls of the test being online from an academic integrity perspective. Of course, there are risks for us that some students will try to find ways to cheat the system. We are very familiar with these risks. We are experts at designing online quizzes and reviewing answers to spot any potential issues. We are putting in checks in the design of the quiz to limit the ability to beat the system. But we know no system is foolproof. We also have checks afterwards to see if there are any patterns in answers that might suggest academic misconduct. One of those checks could be questioning in the meeting with the academic. Where there is a suspicion, we will act. And at the end of the day, the more time a student spends trying to work around the system, the less time they have to answer the questions. Now those words of warning are out of the way, let's talk about what type of questions you will be asked. Everyone having an interview in the same week does the quiz at the same time and gets the same questions. The answer choices will be shuffled in different order for different people. The questions will be different, but at the same level of difficulty in the maths quizzes for earlier or later interview weeks. All the 15 questions will be multiple choice. There will be 5 answer choices, only one of which is correct. There is no negative marking, just a mark for a correct answer and 0 for incorrect. You must work through the questions in order. Once you move forward to the next question, you cannot move back. Make sure to submit an answer before moving on. The questions will get harder in difficulty as you progress through the quiz. None of the questions are trick questions. They all have a solution and top students should be able to answer them in the allocated time. Remember, time is tight, but don't rush at the expense of accuracy. Questions have been written that can be answered in 2 minutes or less, assuming you are confident with the material. Don't spend lots of time on one, particularly early on, using time you will need later. Move on. It is perhaps pointless to say this, but please don't worry if you cannot answer a question or you realise later you chose an incorrect option. Keep working through the questions. Remember, this is not a hurdle to get you to the next part of the process. The meeting with the academic is guaranteed. Your UCAS application has already piqued our interest. The maths quiz is just one piece of information we have about you and whether you are likely to be happy and to do well on our degree. The final area I want to talk about is what maths topics will be covered in the quiz. We have chosen to base the quiz on the AQA A-Level Maths syllabus, so everyone has 1 point of reference. If you are not doing the AQA A-Level Maths syllabus, you will need to compare it to your syllabus and work out if there are topics you may need to review by yourself. You may also need to work ahead of where you are in school in some cases, if you have not yet covered some topics. The quiz will cover the vast majority of the topics on the syllabus. The foundations are all really important to the study of economics, finance and data science. You can see marked here with an X the topics not covered. These are, for those with the list in front of them, J vectors, P quantities and units in mechanics, Q kinematics, or forces and Newton's laws, and S moments. We don't want this quiz, or indeed the whole interview process, to create a lot of extra work and stress for you. But it is a good idea to do some practice questions for the test. This will complement your revision for your A-levels or equivalent, so we hope won't be seen as a big extra burden. I'm sure your school provides you with all sorts of revision materials. Use them and practice all types of questions. It does not matter if they are not multiple choice. If you can get the answer, you will be able to identify the choice in a multiple choice question. We have looked at drfrostmaths.com as one example website, and it does have many resources, including practice questions for AQA A-level maths syllabus. Make sure to go to the resources area, select Key Stage 5 or KS5, and focus on pure mathematics and statistics. This is just one example website. If you have another one you use and like to work with, use that. Look at the practice questions from things like the Senior Maths Challenge as well, if you are not confident with multiple choice quizzes. But please remember the Senior Maths Challenge does not cover all the A-level topics. So it's not an example of our quiz, just an example of a maths multiple choice quiz. The main thing to remember is that we are testing your understanding of the content of the AQA A-level maths syllabus. If your understanding of the content is solid, consistent with your A-star prediction, you should be comfortable with our maths quiz. I hope that this deeper explanation of the maths quiz part of our interview has helped provide reassurance. Remember not to worry if you don't get everything correct, or even if you don't manage to answer everything. This is one piece of information we use. We will have a broader picture of your analytical skills, including from the meeting with the academic. The test is not a decider on its own. Don't forget there's a separate video explaining the meeting with the academic part of the interview that you should also watch. If you receive an invitation to interview and have any outstanding questions, there will be an email address to get in touch with us. Please do communicate with us if any questions or concerns come up. We will try to help, but can only do this if you let us know. Best of luck with your application. We look forward to reading them. And most important of all, good luck with your final year at school. Enjoy it.